The dynamics of persuasion, attitudes, functions, and consequences. Here's where we're going. We're going to look at attitude functions, attitudes and persuasion, attitudes and behavior, models of attitude-behavior relations, and implications for persuasion. First, attitude functions. The main functions of attitudes are knowledge, helping people make sense of the world; utilitarian, help people obtain rewards and avoid punishments; social adjustive, help us adjust to reference groups; social identity, help people communicate who they are and what they aspire to be; value expressive, in other words, helping people to express core values and cherished beliefs; ego defensive, can serve as a defense against unpleasant emotions people do not want to consciously acknowledge. Attitudes can serve different functions for different people. Functional theory suggests a persuasive message is most likely to change an individual's attitude when the message is directed at the underlying function the attitude serves. People may not know why they hold an attitude or may not want to admit the truth. When do you think an attitude may not be predictive of someone's behavior? I encourage you to pause and consider this question. The psychologist Richard Lapierre researched prejudice and found no significant link between attitude and behavior. His study was an anomaly. Researchers systematically examined the relationship between attitude and behavior over the ensuing decades. Situational factors. The context, the situation we're in, exerts a powerful impact on behavior. What situations can you think of where you would not behave according to your attitude? I again encourage you to press pause and consider that final question. Situational factors include norms. A norm is an individual's belief about the appropriate behavior in a situation. Norms vary across cultures. Another situational factor is a rule. Rules are parts we perform in everyday life. They're socially prescribed functions. For example, professor, student, parent, child, friend. Roles influence the attitude and behavior relationships. When people take on professional roles, they have to act the part, putting their biases aside. Characteristics of the person. Individuals differ in the extent to which they display consistency between attitudes and behavior. Two moderating factors are self-monitoring and direct experience. Self-monitoring refers to the degree to which individuals are concerned with displaying appropriate behavior in social situations. High self-monitors monitor the public appearances of self they display in social situations. Low self-monitors are less concerned with fitting into a social situation or displaying socially correct behavior. High self-monitors exhibit less attitude behavior consistency than do low self-monitors. Here are some characteristics of attitudes formed through direct experience. They tend to be more clearly defined, held with greater certainty, more stable over time, more resistant to counter-influence, come more quickly to mind, and people are more apt to translate attitude into behavior when the attitude has been formed through direct experiences in real-world situations. A general attitude is the global evaluation that cuts across different situations. A general attitude, sometimes called attitude toward the object, will not predict each and every religious behavior. A specific attitude, called attitude toward a specific behavior is an evaluation of a single act or specific behavior that takes place in a particular context at a particular time. Strong attitudes are particularly likely to forecast behavior. Ambivalent attitudes about issues are less likely to translate into behavior. These researchers found a strong relationship between attitude and behavior is possible only if the attitudinal predictor corresponds with the behavioral criteria. There are three major models of attitude-behavior relations that have been proposed: the theory of reasoned action, the theory of planned behavior, and the accessibility model. The theory of reasoned action model assumes that people rationally calculate the costs and benefits of engaging in a particular action and think carefully about how important others will view the behavior under consideration. There are four components of the theory of reasoned action: the attitude toward the behavior, the subjective norm, the behavioral intention, the behavior itself, an action in a particular situation. So consider this model: beliefs that the behavior leads to certain outcomes, evaluation of these outcomes, beliefs that specific reference, think, person should or should not perform the behavior, motivation to comply with specific reference. On the top row, those two lead to attitude toward behavior. On the bottom row, those two lead to subjective norm. The attitude toward behavior and subjective norm then intersect with the relative importance of attitudinal and normative considerations before arriving at intention. Remember the importance of intention, because intention leads to behavior in the theory of reasoned action. The theory of planned behavior adds another component to the reasoned action model: perceived behavioral control. Ajizan argues that behavioral intention is determined by three factors: attitude, subjective norm, perceptions of behavioral control. The perceived behavioral control is the individual's perception of how much control he or she has over the behavior. The more I perceive that I can perform the action, the more successful I should be in translating intention into behavior. For example, the more I perceive that I can perform exercising, the more successful I should be in translating that intention into exercising. The same can be argued for dieting, quitting anything bad for you, and spending less money. So in the theory of planned behavior, you have attitude toward behavior, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control, all leading to behavioral intention, which then influences the chosen behavior. The accessibility theory's premise is that attitudes will predict behavior if they can be activated from memory at the time of decision. Implications for persuasion. The more researchers know about when and how attitudes influence behavior, the more useful the recommendations to real-life persuaders. Each theory provides input on how a persuader may influence behavior. So here's where we've been. We answered the question, when are people unlikely to translate their attitude into behavior? We explained the functional theory. We described the similarities and differences between the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior. And we illustrated the concept of accessibility theory.